Chiropractic, although many times misunderstood, is about helping people live healthier, fuller lives. While typically thought of as bone doctors, chiropractors actually focus on the nervous system and painlessly, manually adjust the spinal column in order to positively affect the distribution of the body's energy. The idea is that the master system, which is the nervous system, is healthy and functioning well. Then the other systems under its control will also function in a more optimal fashion. Chiropractic is based on the belief that the same innate intelligence that can grow a single cell into a complex human being made of billions of cells can also heal the body if it's free of disturbances in the nervous system. When a chiropractor removes this disturbance, then the nervous system functions more optimally and the body is able to heal itself via the two-way communication system. Let's pay a visit to One World Chiropractic and visit my chiropractor, Dr. Mike Maggio. We're here at One World Chiropractic, and this is my chiropractor, Dr. Mike. Mike Maggio, thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Radhia. Thanks for having me.
Tell us, what is chiropractic?
Chiropractic, despite popular belief, is actually all about the nerve system and taking care of your nerve system, keeping it functioning properly, not just neck pain, back pain kind of care. Chiropractic is the science of keeping the nerve system functioning perfectly. From the side view, your neck should have a forward curve to it. We call this the arc of life because in order for life to get from your brain into your body, it has to flow through this arc. And a tangent from the second bone in the neck and the bottom bone in the neck, how they intersect, should measure about 45 degrees, plus or minus a couple degrees. In your low back, we should have a nice smooth forward curve as well. From the straight arm view, like I said, each bone should stack upon the one below it, and it should be a nice straight line all the way up through. This is how we know that your spine is in its most neutral position, and there's the least amount of stress to our spine in this position right here.
Most people think of chiropractic as you go to them when you've had an accident. If you've had an accident or an injury, a specific car accident or whatever, and they usually don't think about going to you if they don't have, you know, an obvious thing that happens. But as you're showing me right now, I mean, this person probably for 20 years had no idea that this was really going on, and we usually, I mean, typically I know, and a lot of my clients basically will never come and see you unless I'm sitting there looking at their thing and suggest it to them. They'll never do it unless they've had an accident, and that isn't exactly what chiropractic is all about. Yeah.
Chiropractic was discovered on a deaf person. Dr. Windsor showed us that, hey, if there's nerve interference in our body, then that's going to create organ damage and possibly death from that organ. And what we're seeing here is just an illustration of going through life at different points in time and seeing the more damage there is, the worse off we are.
I wonder how gravity affects our spine.
The laws of physics dictate the more pressure there is to the nerve system, the more it's atrophied, the weaker the energy flow is into the body, the sicker the organs are. So the older we are, the more gravity presses down on us, the more degenerated we get, the more degenerated our spine gets, the more degenerated the organs get, the sicker we are. It just makes sense. If we want to live to be old and healthy at the same time, then we need to first and foremost take care of our nerve system so that we can generate the energy possible to keep our organs alive long enough to get into our 80s or our 90s and then still have our health with us.
So longevity really has to do with a healthy spine.
It begins there.
Here's Dr. Mike with a day in the life of the spine.
Okay, so let's take a look at the day in the life of a spine. First of all, we get up in the morning and we sit down, we eat our breakfast, we jump in our car, we drive to work, we sit down on our computer, we type on the computer, talk on the phone, do a little paperwork. We jump in our car, we drive to lunch, we sit down, we eat our lunch, we sit back in our car, we drive back to work, we sit down, type on the computer, talk on the phone, do a little more paperwork, jump in our car, drive home, and it was a long day, so what do? We sit down, we unwind, we relax, we watch a little television, sit down, eat a little dinner, watch a little more TV, catch up on some internet, and then we go to bed. Does that sound familiar to anybody? So let's look at some before and afters. These are actual cases that I took care of. In this instance, this person came into my office. When we showed him this x-ray, it actually measures negative 14 degrees. In other words, his neck is reversing the wrong way 14 degrees. It's gone past straight, which would be 0, and now we're measuring into the negative. And he was shocked when he looked at that x-ray, of course.
What's the answer, Dr. Mike? How do we go through our daily life and then turn this beautiful spine into a life-giving organ?
He asked me if we could correct that. I said, oh, that's exactly what we do here in my office, is correct, reconstruct the spines back to normal if we can. And so this is an x-ray that we took 12 months later. It's actually the same person after 1 year of reconstructive care. So we did some special type of adjusting, some different adjustments in order to restore the curve. And also he had some simple stretches and exercises that he had to do at home in order to retrain his neck to come back into its normal alignment. It's not that we force the spine into alignment, we just allow space for the body to move back into its normal alignment, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, so let me ask you, how old was this guy?
So this man was in his late 20s. I believe he was 27, 28.
Really? Really? So
Sure.
20 years old, he's got going in the other direction.
Yes.
And how long was he with you before he got this full correction?
This correction in particular took about 12 months.
Wow, so in 12 months he's back to a perfect spine.
Yeah, this actually measures 44 degrees, and we said that 45 was ideally perfect, so he's within 1 degree of normal. Sure.
Good. So that was a lot of great information that Dr. Mike gave us today. Can you summarize it for us?
Sure. I think the best way to summarize it is with a metaphor. A long time ago, people didn't know they were supposed to brush their teeth. So what happened to everybody's teeth?
It fell out.
Sure, of course. And people would look around, they'd see, hey, everybody's teeth fall out. By the time they're probably 25 or so. Happens to everybody. It's the normal aging process. Teeth just don't last our whole lives. And then one day somebody found that if we brush our teeth and keep them clean, that they actually last longer. To the point where we are today, where we expect to keep our teeth in our face our whole life, right? And if somebody were to be in front of us today at 25 with no teeth in their face, we wouldn't consider that normal, would we?
No.
Well, you know, it wasn't normal back then either. What it was common. And I submit that there's a huge difference between common and normal. And I'm not suggesting if you get adjusted you're going to live to 150, but what I'm saying is we're missing a huge part, a huge portion of our life and the way that we should be taking care of our bodies and keeping ourselves healthy. We're not taking care of our nervous system, we're not taking care of the energy that flows through this thing, and gravity is just compressing us. We need to brush our teeth.
Well, and unlike dentures, we can't replace the spine.
That's correct. We only get one of them. It's why it's the only organ that's completely encased in bone. It's the only organ that's not replaced or regenerated in your body.
Well, thank you so much. You have been so helpful today to help me and our friends here to understand the importance of not only keeping our spine healthy, but getting regular chiropractic adjustments. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for enlightening us on chiropractic. I'm Radhia. Join us for our next episode as we explore the exciting world of complementary and alternative medicine to your health.